We are here at the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium 2016, and I'm sitting here with Michael Singer of the Male Breast Cancer Coalition. Michael, it's so nice to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and be able to share some of my experiences with male breast cancer.
We're really excited to have you, and I want to start out first with a quote from you, and it is, "No man should ever feel embarrassed about asking questions or doing a breast exam. It just might save his life." Tell me about what this means to you.
It strikes a chord with me because originally when I got diagnosed with male breast cancer back in 2010, it was a shock to me, and I had never heard of men getting breast cancer. So it was embarrassing. I felt I have a woman's disease. What's wrong with me? And my only experience with breast cancer up until that point was losing my sister to metastatic breast cancer 2 years earlier. So it's very important to talk about it. I was embarrassed in the beginning. It was almost a year until I could actually say that I had breast cancer. I called it chest cancer when somebody approached me. And then after seeing two gentlemen on national TV, it was a TV show called The Katie Couric Show, and they had a young male breast cancer survivor named Brett Miller. He was 24 years old, and they had a gentleman, his name was Richard Roundtree. And I grew up with this actor, Richard Roundtree. He starred in an action series called Shaft. And I'm sitting at home, kind of like on my own island, feeling alone, feeling stigmatized, and these two guys are on national TV talking about male breast cancer. And I jumped up and I started running around my living room saying, what's wrong with me? Why am I embarrassed? Why can't I talk about this? So I really want other men to know not to be embarrassed, to talk to their doctors about it, to not be stigmatized about it, for doctors in the medical field to be aware of it, that men can get breast cancer, because a lot of doctors I talk to still are unaware. And maybe they heard about it in medical school, but when you go in for a routine exam, they listen to your heart, they might ask you to cough and hold your privates, they might give you a prostate exam, but they don't feel your chest and feel for any abnormalities, and we would love for that to become the norm. I went to the doctor the first time, and I had a lump under my nipple for months, and I was ignoring it, and I was hoping it was going to go away, because men just don't talk about their breasts. So I went to the doctor's office. He goes, "Mike, we haven't seen you in a long time. We're going to do some blood work." They did all this stuff. I went home. I still didn't tell the doctor that I had a lump under my nipple. The doctor called my house a couple of days later and spoke to my wife and said, "We'd like Michael to come back in. There's something in his blood work. We want to double check." So I didn't think anything of it. I went back to the doctor, and what did they want to tell me? "Mike, we hate to tell you, but you have diabetes, and we want to run another test on you with a fasting." I said, "Okay." At that second visit during that same week, I finally said to the doctor, "While I'm here, Doc, I have this lump under my nipple." And he goes, "What do you mean you have a lump under your nipple?" And he, felt it and stuff. And he knew my family history about my sister. And he goes, "Mike, we got to get this checked out." And within 2 days, I was having a needle biopsy. And then from a needle biopsy, I went because they couldn't get anything out of the needle biopsy, I went for a surgical biopsy where they cut under the nipple and took a portion of what I thought was a lump, which was a tumor. And I remember the doctor coming into the recovery room, and I was still groggy from the anesthesia, and he said, "Mike, I don't like the way that looks." I didn't think, what that meant, and I kind of fell back asleep, and I told my wife when I went home what he had said. The surgeon was already back in the OR, and I went there a couple of days later, and went in the office. My wife was with me, and we were talking, my wife and the doctor, and he goes, "Oh, let me go get your file." And he went out and got my file, and he came back in. I can see his whole demeanor had changed. And he looked at me and my wife, and he goes, "Mike, I'm sorry to tell you, but you have breast cancer." And I sat there for a minute, and then I looked at my wife, and I said, "Does he know what he's talking about? Does he have my sister's file? Is there a mistake? How can I have breast cancer?" And he was like, "No, Mike, men do get breast cancer, and this is your pathology report." I was floored. I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what to say, because I had grown up that breast cancer is a woman's disease, and I was like, what's wrong with me? So yeah, that quote is very important to raise awareness that the men should get checked, shouldn't be embarrassed to talk about it. And that's part of what I advocate is reducing the stigma so men do come out and talk about it.